Khila Lambert.
And can you spell your name?
Khilambert.
How old are you, Kai?
16.
And what grade are you going into?
11.
And do you have a favorite subject?
Language arts.
And how do you know Patricia Lambert?
That's my mom.
Now, was there a time when Millie Place and Laila Daniel lived with you and your family before they went to live with the Rosenbaums?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, did you help care for Millie and Laila?
Yes, ma'am.
And what kinds of things did you do to help care for Millie and Laila?
Feed them, bathe them, play with them, change diapers, stuff like that.
Now, what kind of child was Millie prior to Laila's death? Now, let me ask you this. What kind of child was Millie when she was living with you?
Oh, she was personality-wise, very playful.
And what about Laila? What was she like?
The same thing, extremely playful.
And you indicated that you helped bathe the children.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever see any white scar on Laila below her belly button?
No, ma'am.
Any scars at all on Laila's body?
No, ma'am.
Now, was there a time when Millie and Laila began having visits with the Rosenbaums?
Yes, ma'am.
And after Millie and Laila would come back to your house from visits with the Rosenbaums, did you observe any bruises?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you see?
I started seeing bruises on her legs and back, just small stuff, but didn't really think anything of it at first.
And when you say you saw bruises on the legs, whose legs are you talking about?
Millie's legs.
And when you say you saw a bruise on the back, whose back were you talking about?
Layla's back.
Now, did Millie come to live with you after Laila's death?
Yes, ma'am.
How old were you at the time that Millie came back to live with you?
I can't really remember.
What's your date of birth?
December 27, 2002.
And did Millie come back to live with you in November of 2015? Does that sound about right?
Yes, ma'am.
So were you...
Maybe 11 or 12. Mm-hmm.
And when Millie came to live with you, did she tell you anything about her experiences while living with the Rosenbaums?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, when she, as soon as she came to the door, that night she came back with us. She did.
And what did she say that night that she came?
Nothing. It wasn't even a hi or hello at first. The first thing she said was, Kaya, Miss Jennifer killed Laila. And at first I was just confused because that's not something I would expect her to say.
And did she tell you anything else at that point?
No, ma'am, not that night. But as she stayed with us, it was a couple of other things. She would start saying what went on in the house without even us having to ask.
And what did she say what went on in the house?
Well, one of the main things she would say was how Miss Jennifer dragged Laila down the steps.
Did she tell you how Miss Jennifer dragged Laila down the steps?
No, I can't really remember. She probably did, but I can't remember.
And did she tell you anything else about living at the
I can't really remember.
Now, when Millie first came back to live with you after Layla's death, did you see any bruising on her body?
I can't.
Well, looking at, let me ask you this. On November 24th, 2015, did you provide a written statement to Detective Thompson?
I did.
And we're looking at your November 24th, 2015 statement help you in remembering whether you saw any bruises?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach the witness room?
You may.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 386. Do you recognize this?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you recognize it?
That was a statement that I wrote.
And was that statement written 4 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you have a chance to review it? And then once you're done reviewing it, I'll look up and I'll ask you the question again.
Yes, ma'am.
So did you ever see any bruises on Millie when she came back from Rosenbaum?
I did.
And what did you see?
Bruises
And where on her body?
on her hip.
And how did you come to see those bruises?
I want to say when she was being changed.
And what did she say about those bruises?
She basically said that she was being hit, but if anybody asked, not to say anything about it.
Just to clarify, who was not supposed to say anything about it if asked?
She wasn't supposed to say anything.
So she was told not to say anything about the injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
And who told her that?
Miss Jennifer.
And was she told to say anything specific about the injuries that asked, according to Miss Jennifer? Would you like to look at your statement?
If anybody asked about it, she was just to say that she fell down.
And was that what Millie told you Miss Jennifer told her to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at some point in December of 2015, did the detectives come back over to your home?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they interview Millie?
Yes, they did.
And were you present for that interview?
Yes, ma'am.
At any time before, during the interview, did you tell Millie what to say?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever sit by Millie while she was talking to the detectives?
I did.
And how come?
I was the only one in the house that she was actually comfortable with. Like, when she came out of the home, I was the one she was actually communicating with. And so it was hard for her to, like, communicate with two strangers that she had no idea who they were. So when I sat next to her, that's when she, kind of started telling them what happened.
And at any point, did you tell her, remember what you told me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in general, how did the topic of Layla's death and Millie's injuries come up in the home?
Mostly she would just talk about it, and then other conversations would come up when I was changing her and I asked her where she got the bruises from.
And when you're talking about when you changed her and she got the bruises from, was that after Layla's death?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum?
No, ma'am.
Those are all the questions I have.
I'm saying, Yes. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Khila. I just have a couple of questions for you. If you can't hear me or I'm not clear, please let me know.
Okay.
Okay? You're 16 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you, back in 2015, you were 11 or 12?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have testified today that you saw, before the death of Laila, you saw Millie, you saw bruises on Millie's back.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take pictures of that?
No, ma'am.
Did you
I
not
didn't.
take pictures of that?
I'm pretty sure the pictures were taken at the defects office.
Okay, and were the pictures taken at the defects office of her eye and her arm?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. But as best you know, you haven't seen any pictures of bruises on Millie's back, have you?
I haven't seen any pictures, but I've seen with my own eyes.
And you gave a statement, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The detective came and asked you to tell you what you knew, what Millie had told you, correct?
You're asking if the detective asked me what Millie told me?
Yes.
No.
What did he tell you to write on the statement?
Oh, yeah, yes. He did ask me what... I thought you were talking about like when they came in and questioned her.
But when you gave your statement on November 24th, did they ask you to tell them what you knew?
Yes, ma'am.
What you had heard from Laila?
Yes,
from
ma'am.
Millie?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had testified here that Millie came back and said, Miss Jennifer killed Laila.
Yes, ma'am.
Now show me, if you would, anywhere in your statement where you said that to the police. You have that beside you?
Mm-hmm. That's not something that I put in my statement, but that's something that was said.
But that's not something you put in your statement?
No.
And where in the statement does it say anything about Miss Jennifer dragging Laila downstairs?
Before,
Just answer my question first, and then you can explain. Where does it say?
I didn't put that in the statement.
You can certainly explain that.
Before, I'm pretty sure before I was given this statement to make, or a little bit after, that's when she's been telling me stuff like that.
Isn't it true that you wrote your statement, you said, well, when my mom pulled up with Millie and took her out of her car, she ran to me saying, Kaya, Kaya, I have bruises all over my body.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And isn't it true that nowhere in your statement does it have anything about Jennifer telling her to say something?
Yes. Wait, can you please repeat that?
In your statement,
Yes, ma'am.
there's nothing in there that says Jennifer told her to say anything. Is there, let me rephrase it a different way, is there anything in the statement that you wrote
Mm-hmm.
that says that Jennifer told her to say something
About what?
about what happened to her, or when people said anything about the bruises? Where in your statement does it say that Miss Jennifer told her to say anything?
She told her not to say.
And you put that in your statement?
I didn't put not to say, but she told her what to say.
Okay, you didn't put that in your statement either, did you?
Yeah, I did.
You said, she also told me that Miss Jennifer
Hit her, but if anybody asked, she just fell down. That's what she told her to say.
Okay, does it say there that Miss Jennifer said that? Does it say that Miss Jennifer said that? In your
That's,
statement?
I don't get what you're asking.
In your statement,
Okay.
does it say Jennifer said to say that? Does it say Jennifer said?
I didn't put Jennifer said, but I said, and she told me Miss Jennifer hit her, but if anybody asked, I just fell down. That's what she was told to say.
Okay, but you didn't write that in your statement, did you?
It's right here.
But you didn't write down that that's what she was told to say. Correct? Did you write down that's what she was told to say?
No.
Now, you also told police that Laila had told you that her bruises came from a bear scratching her, correct?
A bear?
Yes, didn't she tell you that?
No.
At no point.
No.
Now, she also told you Miss Rosenbaum would not feed Laila and would make her waste her food. That's what you wrote in your statement, isn't it?
I put that Jennifer, she told me that Jennifer fed her more than Laila. And Laila didn't get much food. She also told me that whenever they went out to eat, Jennifer made her waste her food, yes.
And you had also heard that on TV, didn't you?
No.
Did your mother tell you that as well?
No.
And are you aware that Laila was determined to be well nourished? Are you aware of that?
What do you mean?
Are you aware that the doctor said she was well nourished?
No, I'm not sure.
Thank you. I really-
Okay.
Kaya, you were, what did you say, 11 or 12 when you wrote this statement?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this time, I tender State's Exhibit 386 into evidence and ask permission to publish.
You may publish.
Kaya, when you speak, is it different than when you write sometimes? Is your writing a little bit different?
It is.
So, 386 up on the keyboard, can you read that in its entirety?
Okay. Well, when my mom pulled up with Millie and took her out of her car, she ran to me saying Kaya had bruises all over my body, and she showed me a bruise on her right lower hip, and she told me Miss Jennifer hit her, but if anybody asked, I just fell down. She also told me that Miss Jennifer fed her more than Laila, and Laila didn't get much food. She also told me that whenever they went out to eat, Jennifer made her waste her food.
So when you wrote, she told me Mrs. Jennifer hit her, but if anybody asked, I just fell down. What were you conveying in that sentence? What were you saying?
Like, with her, like, if Jennifer hit her, if anybody asked, like,
Asked Millie.
asked Millie, she just fell. Or she was playing or something and she just got a bruise.
And who told Millie to say that she just fell?
Miss Jennifer.
Now, on cross, Ms. Mull asked you, didn't you say, or write in your statement, Jennifer didn't feed Laila? Is that anywhere in the statement?
No.
So you answered correct. Your answer that that's not in the statement is correct. You didn't write it in your statement.
Can you?
You never wrote the words, Jennifer didn't feed Laila.
Yeah, I never wrote that.
Thank you. No further questions.
Lambert. When Miss Millie came the second time to your house, it was after the funeral, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she had been with her parents and great-grandmother, correct?
I'm not sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You can step down. And any objections to this being excused? No, please stay. You're free to go. State will call us next witness.
State calls Detective Mellon.
Detective Mellon.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could state your name for the record,
I'm Detective Antonio Mellon.
and if you could spell your first and last name.
First name is Antonio. Excuse me. Last name is Mellon.
Detective, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed at the Henry County Police Department as a detective.
How long have you been employed at the Henry County Police Department?
A little bit more than 12 years, ma'am.
Now, at the Henry County Police Department, are you assigned to a specific unit?
Currently, I'm in the General Crimes Division.
And prior to General Crimes Division, where were you assigned?
I was assigned to the ICAC unit, the Crimes Against Children's Division.
How long were you in the IPAC unit?
Approximately 7 years.
What kind of crimes does the IPAC unit investigate?
We do any crime involving a child, whether a child be the victim or a child be the subject. So from child molestations to abuses to infant death to fights to cyber illegal postings of nude pictures, anything involving a child.
Now, prior to working at Henry County, where were you employed?
I was employed at the North Miami Police Department in Florida,
And how long did you work there?
approximately 2.5 years.
And how did you become involved in this case?
In reference to this case, I was at the time, Sergeant Thompson was then Detective Thompson. He was my partner. He received an email in reference to one of the victims making an outcry. This was 3 days after Christmas. He asked me if we could go and speak to the child, and we did.
You said Detective now Sergeant Thompson was your partner. Was it customary for you to work in teams?
Yes, it is. With any case, you have a lead detective, then you have other detectives who assist, and anyone in the office will lend a helping hand with any task that needs to be done.
Was there a specific reason why Detective Thompson asked you to go with him to interview Millie?
Yes, ma'am. At that time, he had not yet completed the Finding Words course, which basically is the course that you need to become a forensic interviewer to speak to kids.
And has Finding Words later changed to Child First?
Yes, ma'am. It's currently Child First. It's a 40-hour block, and it was Finding Words prior to that.
And were you trained in Child First or Finding Words?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
And when did you take the course?
I completed my course. My course was April 29th to May 3rd, 2013.
Now, prior to interviewing Millie Place, had you ever interviewed a child?
Yes, ma'am, I've had.
And where did you interview the child?
At the schools, a lot of time we would get referrals from the school counselors, so we would interview the children at the setting where we're called out to, and if possible, we schedule something else. If not,
So as a detective, was it customary for you to speak with a child before they had a forensic interview?
yes, ma'am.
And was it customary to get some sort of disclosure prior to going to a forensic interview?
We try to, and every case is different. If the kid is forthcoming and does make a disclosure, then we continue and we speak. If not, then we schedule the forensic interview at Southern Crescent to be done.
Now, where did the interview of Millie Place take place?
It occurred at Miss Lambert's residence. I do not have the address.
Okay. And why did it happen at Miss Lambert's residence as opposed to Southern Crescent?
It was the exact reason would have to be with Detective Thompson. It was his case. He received the message. With it being the holidays, we spoke to Millie on December 28th, which was the Monday after Christmas. Christmas was that Friday. So you had Christmas scheduling between the centers, the police department. So with the child being a willing participant and was disclosing information, we thought it was a good idea to go and obtain the information while it was fresh and prior to it being tainted.
Now, between the time that you were trained in doing forensic interviews in 2013 and the time that you interviewed Millie Place, had you ever conducted a forensic interview at a child advocacy center?
Actually, yes, I did. I did one.
What? You did?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, at the center where I stepped in and conducted the interview.
And that was video and audio recording?
Yes, ma'am.
How come you stepped in that situation?
The rapport with the interviewer, the child was not opening up, and I went in and I conducted it, and we built the rapport, and the child disclosed to me.
So do you find in cases a child will open up to one person versus another, just feel better with one person?
Yes, ma'am. We have to take several factors into consideration: race, ethnicity, cultures. So it's not a perfect system. You will not get the same answer every time with a child with a person interviewing them. We all have different styles. We speak differently, different tones.
When you spoke with Millie, was she able to give you information about what happened to her at the Rosenbaum's home?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
And did she give you any information about what happened to Laila when she was at the Rosenbaum's home?
She gave some, yes, ma'am.
I approach the witness room.
May.
Detective, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 387 and see if you recognize it.
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you recognize it?
It has my signature on there.
And what is it?
It's the interview that we did with Millie at Ms. Lambert's house. We recorded it with a Surface tablet.
And why did you sign it?
I reviewed it and to make sure that it was the exact video that was shot that day, ma'am.
And did you put the date that you reviewed it on the disc?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was the date?
It was 6/11/19, June 11, 2019.
And the State's Exhibit 387 is a fair and accurate copy of that interview with Millie.
Yes, ma'am.
Any changes, deletions, alterations to
No, ma'am.
At this time, I tender State's Exhibit 387 into evidence. That's for permission to publish.
No objection. It's admitted, you may publish.
And may we turn the lights off?
Scene is accurate.
You will see?
I don't know what that is. Whoa.
Oh, you get? All right. That is so
I
sweet.
also have more toys upstairs.
That's Elsa, right? You have Anna too?
No.
No, you don't like Anna?
Yeah.
Oh, you just don't.
I just didn't get one.
It's all right. Sometimes, you know. Next Christmas, you just have to be good and ask Santa.
Does this make you magical when you do when you leave this? Does it make you magical too?
No.
No? You have very nice stuff. Great gifts.
Very nice. And those fit you, your slippers?
Yeah.
Can I borrow them with me? Why not? Look, that's my time.
Yeah, your feet are too
You trying to get it too big? Look at the little feet.
He could maybe get one toe in there, maybe, I think. I don't know if he can get two. Just one toe. He's got a fat toe.
And what did Miss Patricia get? Do you know? Did she get anything good for Christmas?
Yes.
What did she get?
The hugs. You give her Christmas hugs? You didn't give her a Christmas hug? No.
Okay. So you had fun. When did you open your gifts? Did you open them on Christmas Eve after midnight after Santa came? Or did you open them in the morning?
I opened them on Christmas.
On Christmas Day? So you woke
Good morning.
Victoria.
And this is mine too.
That's so nice.
I can do it.
You did a good job doing it here.
Do you know the Frozen song? You know it from start to finish?
But I don't really know every single one.
But you know a lot of it. If it's playing, you can sing along.
Oh, you have a Frozen too? Oh, that's pretty. Wow. Very nice.
Different on me.
Oh, yes, she has a little hair in the front. That's cool.
Those are her bangs.
Those are her bangs, yes.
Just like you.
Just like you do, exactly.
Her hair looks a lot like yours.
Oh, wait, no.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's pretty like yours, see?
No, it's not. It's white. I'm blonde.
Okay.
Well, that's blonde
It's
too.
blonde. It's
There's
blonde.
different shades of blonde. What do you get? I'm surprised. What are you doing out so early? Do you always get up this early?
No.
No.
She just told me that she'll work on me.
Oh, okay. Okay, who told you, Miss Patricia? Oh, okay.
You just came to check up on you and to see how you were doing.
I didn't want to
What was that, breakfast? What did you?
I had sausages and
Oh, you had a big breakfast. You
All
know,
I had was oatmeal.
and all I had was a banana. You like bananas? Do you like bananas?
yes.
What about oatmeal? Strawberry.
Strawberries and oatmeal. Ooh.
No.
You don't like oatmeal?
Yes, I just want strawberry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I like peach oatmeal.
Me too.
That's good.
That's good. I love peaches. And well, so you got a lot of frozen stuff.
Yeah, and I also have more frozen stuff upstairs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you have a lot of stuff.
You have a frozen pasta because you had it for your birthday, didn't you?
I didn't.
Aha! Yes, I found out. I just found out. I know a lot of stuff. Yeah, I do.
See, me, I'm not like you, so you're gonna have to help me. How old are you?
What?
You're 4? Oh, wow. When was your birthday? See, he knows your birthday. I don't know. Let me see.
October the 4th.
October 4th. Oh, right before Halloween.
You know how I remember your birthday? 10-4, good buddy.
So, that's cool.
That's how I remember your birthday. That's a 10-4, like 10-4, good buddy. That's what we say all the time. 10-4, good buddy.
to ask you a question, Miss Millie. You were speaking to Miss Patricia, and what were you telling her about? I think you told her something about when you used to live at the other house. Yes, with Miss Jennifer. What happened then?
She twisted my arm.
She twisted your arm? When did she twist your arm? Did it hurt?
Yes.
Did she do that one time? More than one time? Yeah, more than one time? How many times? Oh, did you tell her anything when she did that? Did you? You cried? Did she say anything when you started crying? What did she do?
Okay, so when you were playing diaper rash on me, because I didn't like them.
Okay. Oh, so because you didn't wipe good, and that's when she twisted your arm? Okay. Did she say anything after that, after you didn't wipe good? Did she show you how to wipe properly? Or
Yeah, but I just didn't get it because I was just 3.
you were just 3? Okay.
But now I'm 4 because I have my birthday. So that Noah's Ark.
It was at Noah's Ark. Cool. You had fun?
Yeah, and I saw Noah.
You saw Noah?
Yeah.
Wow. So,
I saw animals.
wow.
I didn't see a giraffe.
You didn't see a giraffe?
What animals did you see?
I saw a white tiger.
Wow, I love white tigers.
Wow.
When
And
we,
I just saw a regular tiger. I don't see any elephants.
no elephants? Oh, okay, well, we'll see. We'll ask them why they don't have elephants. So, when Miss Jennifer did that to your arm, did she do it to one arm or both arms? Which arm was that? That's your left arm?
Yeah, but it went away because it was a bruise right here.
It was a bruise? Did she take you to the doctor for the bruise? No.
Was that before your birthday or after your birthday?
After.
After your birthday. Oh, okay.
Actually before.
You know how long before? Okay.
I can't remember.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
That's all right.
And you said it happened more than one time? Okay, and the other times it was which arm? The same arm?
Yes.
Okay. And what about, did she only do that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
She squeezed Layla's arm.
She squeezed Layla's arm?
Actually, her leg.
Her leg? How? And why? How did she squeeze her arm? I mean her leg.
I don't know why.
Did she say anything when she squeezed? Did Layla cry?
Yes.
Did Layla tell her anything?
No, because she couldn't even speak.
She couldn't speak? Why couldn't she speak?
Because she was only 2 years old.
She was only 2 years old?
Yes.
Okay. You're very smart because you're right. And see, if I ever make a mistake, you can correct me, okay? So she was only 2 years old, so she couldn't speak. And she squeezed her leg.
All
And
she did is cry.
who did that? Layla?
Because she didn't know how to speak.
Okay. And what about Miss Jennifer?
She didn't want me to tell her anything.
We know why she squeezed her leg? Oh, did Layla do anything? Okay.
Only like so she died.
Who died? Layla died? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
When she was only 2 years old, permission for killed her.
Why do you say that? What happened? Were you there when Layla died?
Well, yeah, I was in the house, but I wasn't by her when she died.
Okay, tell me about that. Tell me, what were you in the house? What were you doing?
I was just playing and I was watching TV.
Where were you watching TV? In your room? In the living room? Outside? Where? Now, is your room upstairs or downstairs? Or somewhere? Okay.
And my room's upstairs, up there.
Okay, and you have a room upstairs here too? That's good. So when you were upstairs watching TV, where was Laila?
She was downstairs eating, and then she choked on her food.
She choked on her food?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember what Laila was eating? Did you eat that day too?
Yeah, and I didn't choke, but Laila did because Miss Jennifer, like,
It's okay.
Miss Jennifer pushed the food down with a knife.
She pushed the food down with the knife? Did you see that? How do you know she pushed it down with the knife? Okay.
Did you see the news about her?
Yeah. Well, we don't want you to think about the news. All we want you to tell us is what you personally saw or what you personally heard. Okay?
Correct.
You know.
That's going to be, when we speak, like, I won't tell you a lie. I won't tell you what I think is happening, okay? And that's going to be the rule we're going to have, okay? Tell me what you saw. Don't tell me what you think. Yeah, that's fine. And if you make a mistake, if I ask you a question and you don't want to, I don't know. The same way, you see, I didn't know that Laila was two and that she couldn't speak.
Yeah, but you knew that.
I did.
And he knows a lot more than I do.
Yes, because you're a little bit literal.
I'm a little okay. Thank you for that. You made my day. So, now when you were in your room watching TV and Laila was downstairs with Miss Jennifer, did you hear anything? Did you hear?
I heard her that she was like not breathing profound or anything. She wasn't speaking.
Okay.
Did you hear any, what he's asking is, when you were upstairs, did you hear any noises? What noises did you hear?
I heard her crying.
You heard Laila crying? Okay. Was it really loud or really soft? Or how was it?
Laila was crying loud.
Was it for a short time or for a long time? When you heard the crying, who was home? Who was home?
Me, I was, Miss Jennifer was, and Laila was.
Okay. Where was Mr. Joe?
He was at work.
Oh, okay. So she started crying only when Mr. Joe left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, like when she was in the house, she just started crying.
Okay. That's Laila, right? And what about Miss Jennifer? Did Miss Jennifer say anything when Laila was crying like that?
All she did was cry when she died. I'm like, why are you crying?
Okay. That was
I started crying.
That's fine. You can cry. Everybody cries.
That's your sister, you love her, that's why. That's you understand
I think everybody understands
that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, I know you said Miss Jennifer twisted your arm, and you said she twisted Laila's leg.
that. No, I didn't say she twisted
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say? You said squeeze?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's my issue. I make mistakes. So, she squeezed Laila's leg. Did she ever do anything else to you or Laila? No?
Well, some things, but I don't really know what they were.
Like what? Describe them to me again. If you don't know exactly what it is, you can tell me what it was or what it sounded like or felt like. Were they good things? Bad things? Like what?
Like she spanked me.
She spanked you? With what? Was it her hand? Was it a belt? Was it some something else? Okay.
Well, before we go any further, Millie, let me let you know something, okay? I don't care what you tell us, you're safe now. You understand that?
Yes, because this place is very safe.
That's right, and guess what? Me and him are gonna make sure that nothing happens to you, okay? So you can feel free to tell us whatever happened to you, we wanna know about it, okay? It's our job to know what happened to you, what happened to Layla, and that way we can make sure that we do the right thing by both of you, okay? So you don't ever have to be afraid to tell us anything. Even if you might be shy about it, you can tell us anyway. Yeah. So, having said that, if there's whatever we ask you, you can tell us whatever whatever you know. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you were saying she did bad things? Like what?
Like, spanking
With a belt? Okay. Why did she spank you? Did you do anything? No? What about Layla? Guess what?
She did.
Layla did stuff? Like what?
Like, I don't know, but she was like hold her by one arm. She
Really?
was coming down the steps.
Okay.
Now, when you say hold her by one arm, was it in the air or was Layla walking down the steps?
It was like, it was totally walking down.
Okay.
Okay.
So she was making sure that Layla didn't fall? Huh? No? Oh, what do you mean?
That was when she was getting in trouble.
Oh, so was it slow or was it fast when she was coming down?
Okay. So she grabbed Layla by one arm, and you said that after she got in trouble? Would they be going up the stairs or down the stairs? Down the stairs? Okay. And then what happened after they got down the stairs? You don't know? You don't know? You don't want to tell me? Oh, you don't have to be shy. That's one thing. Don't be shy at all, okay? Like we said, we're here to make sure everything that we can do for you and for your sister and for any other kid, okay? You don't have to be shy around us. You can tell us anything you want.
Would you like somebody to sit with you that you like, Ms. Lambert, or anybody can come sit with you if you're shy? We just want you to tell us, that's all. Who you want? Kaya? Okay.
All right, what's called
And,
Kyle?
is it okay with your mom that you come sit with her, just so she feels comfortable, she said? Okay.
Okay, Kaya's in consideration, okay?
Come sit with you.
We're not here to make you nervous. We're not here to make you uncomfortable. Okay? Hi, Miss Kaya. I'm Detective Mellon.
And I already met you before, Miss Kaya. Well, Kaya's here. She's going to be your moral support. She's going to be the person who supports you while you tell us everything you know.
So you're not uncomfortable anymore, okay? So you can't be shy. You won't be shy. She's here. So we're all ears. You can tell us. I know they're pretty. Go ahead, put them on.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. So we have Kaya. Now you have your frozen slippers. Now, your frozen doll. Yes, you do. So what happened with Layla was at the stairs with Miss Jennifer?
They walked down, and then so we had pie because it was at a restaurant. And it was little,
Oh, she did potty, she boo-boo on herself? She went stinky on herself or pee-pee? Okay. She had an accident, okay.
And that happens.
That happens, everybody makes mistakes. So, she had an accident, she went stinky on herself. So, what did Miss Jennifer do?
I mean, she thought that was bad, so she spanked her.
She spanked her. What did she spank her? Okay. Do you know what she used to spank her? Okay, that's fine. Was it hard spank? Did she spank her hard, light? You don't know? Okay. So after she spanked her, what happened?
I don't know.
Okay. So when she spanked her,
Thank you.
when she spanked her, did Laila start crying? Was she crying loud, soft? Okay, that's fine. And what else can you tell me? What else happened? I thought you said you were shy.
That you needed your friend to sit
Where
with you.
is Kaya? No, she's here.
I mean, I don't really know that.
Okay. What about you? I know you said she twisted your arm. You said it was always that arm. She spanked you. Did anything else? Did she have anything else ever happen to you? Who kicked you? Miss Jennifer kicked you?
She did a lot of bad things to me.
But that's what you have to tell me. That's what I want to know. I'm here to find out all the bad things she did to you. Because you know why? It's not right. And that's why we want to find out all the bad things. So tell me all the bad things that she did to you and all the bad things. Did she ever do any bad things to Laila? Okay, so you want to start with you first? What are all the bad things she did to you? I'm listening. I'm all ears. But you said they were all bad things. You know. Yes, you. Okay. So how do you know they were bad things if you say you don't know? All right. So they might not be bad things. What kind of things were they? Can you give me an example of something?
Does it make you sad to think about it? No? I was about to say, it make you feel sad, you can listen to us later, but, what we like to do is just get whatever you know now, and that way we don't have to talk about it anymore. How's that sound?
Okay. Now, I know you told Miss Kaya that, what did Miss Jennifer do? She just said, I think,
You remember what you told Miss Kyle?
Cake made
Huh?
my
Oh,
she what?
She kicked me in my stomach.
She kicked you in your stomach?
can you stand up and show me how she did that?
I can't even do it.
No, I mean, like, can you show me, like, was it with, was it with this? Or was it with a foot? A foot. Okay, so can you tell us where you were when that happened? Were you
It was on me.
Yeah, were you upstairs or downstairs? In your room?
We were getting ready for gymnastics.
Getting ready for gymnastics. And what happened? You were taking too long?
So you were getting ready for gymnastics? And then what happened? Were you getting dressed?
Yeah.
Were you getting dressed by yourself? Or was Miss Jennifer dressing you or somebody else? Okay. So,
I know that Jennifer was dressing me.
okay, so Miss Jennifer was dressing you? And you were taking too long for gymnastics. So then what happened?
Wasn't taking too long.
Okay.
She was just taking me too fast.
She was just taking you too fast. Okay. So did she say anything? What did she say?
She said, give me some time. She said, you need to get up really, really fast. Because it was so early that I couldn't even get up.
Okay. And then what happened after that? Okay. So how did she end up kicking you?
I don't know why.
Can you show me where she kicked you? Can you stand up and point to where she kicked you?
Oh.
I move the chair. You can stand right there and show me.
Show me where.
Show me where it is.
It was like, she kicked me right in here.
Right in there.
Stomach? Okay.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you do after she kicked you?
Did you cry or?
So
Let me help you with your chair.
when she kicked you, how many times did she kick you?
Oh, this is okay. Thank you.
How many times did she kick you? You don't know? What about Laila?
She didn't kick Layla in her stomach at all.
She didn't kick Laila in her stomach at all? Did she kick? Because you said she didn't kick Laila in her stomach at all. Did she kick Laila somewhere else?
She never kicked Layla.
Okay. So you told me about Miss Jennifer twisting your arm. Told me about Miss Jennifer squeezing Laila's leg, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. You told me about Miss Jennifer kicking you. Had Miss Jennifer ever done anything else? What about Laila?
Nope, she didn't wait.
Okay. And what about Mr.
Joe.
Joe?
Nothing.
What about Mr. Joe? Did he ever do anything like that to you? What about Laila? What about Mr. Joe? Was he in the house? Where was he the whole time? Okay. What about Miss Jennifer and Mr. Joe? Oh, okay. But Miss Jennifer and Mr. Joe, were they always smiling, happy? You don't know? I'm sorry? They had a regular one? A regular face? Okay. Now, did you ever make it to gymnastics that day? You guys didn't go to gymnastics?
Good. Do you know why?
No. Did you ever go to gymnastics any other time? You went to gymnastics some other time other than that?
I
Okay.
went to makeup class.
Oh, so you went to makeup gymnastics class? Or makeup class, like to put on makeup?
Just makeup class.
For gymnastics?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't put on makeup.
See, that's why I have to ask. It said makeup class, I wanted to make sure. So you went to makeup gymnastics class. And what did you do there?
I don't know why my face is so sticky.
I don't know, something probably you were eating that's sticky. Your hands are sticky too. Yeah, it's syrup.
Pancakes.
Because when I shake your hands are a little sticky. So, how was makeup gymnastics class? Did you have fun there? What did you do?
Makeup is away.
Okay.
People hurt.
No, no, you're too much for shoes away.
Oh, okay.
These
I'm
seven
trying to distract the donuts, but I still eat mine though. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I would live here. That's something you want to talk with it, because I thought with this,
Mm-hmm.
that's something you want to do with it, so she can tell them the friends and
Right.
Well,
Right. Yeah.
Response?
That's not fair.
All right, this is Millie and Laila.
Yes.
so did you put them away anything? I hope so, because I hope you didn't just throw them in the because you know Miss Patricia's not going to be happy. You have to keep a clean room.
Yeah, it's just right here.
It's just, yeah, you have to keep a clean room, okay?
Oh, it's in the middle of the floor.
Oh, no, when we're done, you're going to have to fix it, okay? So, did you keep a clean room at Miss Jennifer's house? Ah, and what did Miss Jennifer ever say anything about your room not being clean?
I didn't see that,
But what? Okay. Yeah, I have to get on my daughter all the time to clean your room too.
Did they clean it?
Yeah, they do. Because if they don't clean it, then I take away their iPod or they can't watch TV, so they don't want that, so they'll clean it.
I have a boy, he's kind of messy. He's messy. Yeah, my boy is messy. Yeah. Sometimes I have to open the window. No, for my boy.
So how long were you staying with Miss Jennifer, do you know?
Like, she got me in June.
She got you in June? And what about Laila? Did Laila go at the same time too? You don't know? You don't remember, okay. It's okay not to remember.
It looks like it's a storm.
Yeah, it's a snowstorm, it's a blizzard. So what do you remember? Okay.
Well, is there anything that you think you want us to know? Remember we said we're here to see what everything that happened to you, so we can make sure we're doing our job correctly. Okay. Is there anything else that you think we should know about anything that happened to you or anything that might have happened to your sister that we should know?
You know a lot of things.
I do, but I don't know. You know more than me, believe it or not, because you were there. I wasn't there.
Yes, because you didn't really, I don't know, you didn't really, wait, you know who it was?
I do now.
Okay, that's okay.
I don't know.
It is sometime.
But like I was saying, is there anything else that you think we should know? Is there anything you want to tell me? Now, you said not really? Is because now I want to ask you this. Is it something you don't want to tell me because you're shy? Okay, so you don't have anything else to talk about. Okay.
I had one question for you. Do you remember where you went to gymnastics? I'm sorry? Do you know the name of the gymnastics place? Do you remember the name of your gymnastics teacher?
Yes.
What was her name?
Coach Natalie.
And then it's Miss, I have a teacher, like a class teacher.
Uh-huh.
Wow! Are you crawling over the start and do this?
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
So you said you have Coach Natalie and you have a class teacher?
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
Oh, you had daycare? You never went to daycare? Okay, what about your sister? Did she ever go to daycare too? No? Let me ask you, I'm not sure. Did Laila go to gymnastics? Now, when I say go to gymnastics, I know that Mommy or Miss Jennifer might have brought her with you, but did she actually
Do gymnastics? Later.
Yeah, but she broke her leg at gymnastics.
Did you see that or? Okay.
I like gymnastics because that's my teacher.
So how do you know she broke her leg at gymnastics? Did somebody tell you, or if you say you did not see it?
Okay. Well, who told you that? Okay.
Okay.
All right. When you said that somebody squeezed Layla's leg, which leg was it? Was it the same leg or that she broke, or the other leg? The same leg. Okay.
The same leg that she
Oh, was it with when she had the cast on, or not with the cast
not
on? Okay.
So Layla had a cast? Oh wow, I did not know that. How many, did she ever have a cast before that one? What about you? Have you ever had a cast?
Yeah.
No?
Never.
That's good.
Good.
What color was Layla's cast?
Pink with
Yeah, the pink
sparkles.
Ooh.
Like one of these sparkles.
Did you get to write on it? What your name? No?
Because Mr. Joe didn't let us.
Ah. Why? Did he say something? Okay.
How was Mr. Joe? If you had to describe Mr. Joe, how was he to you?
Right?
He was good to you? And what about how was he to Layla? Yeah. Did you see Mr. Joe much? Did you see him a lot or no? No.
Now, is there anything you think we need? How did you finish and you said no?
You said no really fast.
Who are you speaking to back there? Because I don't see.
I That's I know they have a dog.
No, Kyle was here, but you were waving behind me. Who was behind me? No, I don't care. I thought I saw you waving to somebody behind me.
Yeah, that was Mario.
No, that was Mario?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you said Mr. Joe was good? Did Mr. Joe, when you guys got in trouble, did you ever get in trouble? What did you, how was that dealt with? Did you get, when you got in trouble, what did they do? You don't know. Do you get in trouble here? Yeah, okay. That's good.
Whenever you did get in trouble, whenever you did get in trouble with when you were living with Mr. Joe and Miss Jennifer, can you hear me? Whenever you did get in trouble with Mr. Joe or Miss Jennifer, whenever you did get in trouble with Mr. Joe or Miss Jennifer, who would punish you? Both of them or one of them?
Millie, come here. Yeah, sit down for a second. Remember what we said, you're not going to get in trouble. We just want to know the answer. And as soon as we're finished, we'll be out of here. Okay? So, when you got in trouble, who punished you? When you were at Mr. Joe and Miss Jennifer's house? You don't know?
Has anybody ever told you to say things whenever, you got in trouble? Okay.
I see your name.
I did. I wrote your name so I could remember who I was coming to talk to you today. So, that's... You didn't know, but I had to put it down because that's who I spoke to today. Yes, edited. That's right.
You're very smart. You're very smart. You were able to see a name from there. That's pretty cool.
Alright. Well, can you do this for us? Will you promise me that if you remember anything that you will tell Mrs. Lambert or Kaya, somebody that you trust in the house, if you remember anything that you think that we should know? No, I said if you remember, will you tell them? Okay.
Is there anything we need to know before we leave? Okay. Anything you forgot to tell us? Okay.
Well, we don't want to, bug you. We don't want to make you tired of talking to us. But you understand, we're just doing our job, okay?
So what are you going to do after?
You want to play with your Christmas toys? Watch some SpongeBob. I wish I could watch SpongeBob. He's
Why can't you watch it on there?
because I have to do my job. And SpongeBob is not part of my job today. I wish it was. Well, thank you, Millie, for talking to us. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
What is 10 for?
10-4 is basically when we're given an order and we copy and we understand, we answer 10-4. So it's 10-4 means correct.
And is 10-4 also the day of Millie's birthday?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, while you were in the home of Miss Lambert, did anyone tell Millie what to say?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone gesture to her as to what to say?
No, ma'am.
What was going on in the Lambert home while you were there?
Well, it is a home. Miss Lambert did have her daughter there. There was a young man there and another infant. They were in the living room away from us watching television. Sorry.
Anything else?
Yes, and once Millie decided that she needed, I guess, somebody to be a comforter for her, that's when Kaya came and sat with her.
Now, when you look at the interview, are you the person on the left side of the interview or the right?
I'm looking at the interview, I'm on the left and Detective Thompson is on the right.
So where was Miss Lambert during the interview?
She was in the family room.
Now, during the course of that interview, was Millie able to distinguish between what she saw with her own eyes versus what another person told her?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
And during that interview, was Millie able to tell you what she saw with her own eyes versus what the defendants told her?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any time in the interview that Millie corrected you?
Yes, ma'am. I believe twice or 3 times in the interview.
What were those times?
Those were when I made reference to squeezing versus twisting of her sister's leg.
And was there any other time that you remember?
I do believe there was another time. I'm trying to remember exactly what the statement was. It was...
Would looking at the transcript help assist you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to turn your attention to page 34 of the transcript.
Yes, ma'am. It was when I made the comment of you were taking too long for gymnastics, and she replied, I wasn't taking too long.
Now, was there a time when Kaya said something about, remember when you told me?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Kaya say, remember when you told me she kicked you?
Yes, ma'am.
And did anyone tell Millie to say, in the stomach?
No, ma'am. Once Kaya made that, she began to say that, that's when I believe Detective Thompson stopped, and I asked her where, and she disclosed the stomach.
And was Millie able to describe to you where on her stomach?
Yes, ma'am. That's when we asked her to step away from the table and demonstrate. Unfortunately, she pointed around her belly button area, which was under the table, so it was not captured on the video.
Now, prior to your interview of Millie, what did you know about this case, if anything?
Not much, ma'am. In the sense of, I knew there was a child death, and Detective Thompson was working it, and other detectives were assisting. Even though I was in the unit, I had nothing else to do with the case. We can't place every detective on one call. We still have to have others to assist and answer other calls, ma'am.
So when you had asked, or when you said, I really didn't know about Laila's cast, or were surprised about the cast, was that because you truly didn't know?
I did not know, ma'am. I had really no background on the case except this was the sibling of the decedent, and that she was disclosing some information. He received an email that Monday morning. That Monday morning we went. It was the Christmas holiday weekend.
And other than you speaking with Millie on December 28th, 2018, Do you have any other involvement, I'm sorry, December 28, 2015, do you have any other involvement in this case?
And no, ma'am.
Thank you, I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Did you instruct Ms. Lambert to tell you if Millie told her any more stuff?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Did you instruct Ms. Lambert to tell you if Millie told her anything?
No, ma'am, not me. That was Detective Thompson on the video.
Detective Thompson that told Ms. Lambert to let us know.
Correct, to contact us, yes.
And at the beginning of the interview, there was a female in there. We couldn't see who it was, but we could hear the voice.
Correct.
Who was that was inside for the first
That was Miss Lambert.
Ms. Lambert? So this was not a conventional forensic interview, was it?
No, but there's not a perfect forensic interview.
Not the perfect one, but the ones that they do at the Crescent Center are very focused, aren't they?
The ones that they do at I'm sorry, ma'am, could you repeat the question?
The Child Advocacy Center.
Okay.
Those are more focused, aren't they? The child is there by herself.
Yes, the child is there by herself at
She
that.
doesn't have any help talking,
No, ma'am.
and she's not led, correct, in the side.
Forensic interviews, we don't lead them, ma'am, and that's the point of the forensic interview itself.
And there's no friend sitting there, is there, in forensic interview?
At the center, they do not have, they would have the interviewer, and when it's a break, when the interviewer has to take a break, someone else would come in and befriend the child and play with the child and color with them, yes, ma'am.
Okay, did you see the first
No, ma'am.
forensic interview that
No,
Ms.
ma'am.
Child did? Were you aware that she had done a forensic interview on the scare
No, ma'am.
Are you aware that protocol is you don't interview people's children multiple times about the same subject?
No, ma'am. We are able to do multiple interviews on the same subject, ma'am.
So in your experience, asking a child questions over and over and over again, that is okay?
From our experience per protocol, you can interview a child several times. You can have continuation interviews. As I stated in this particular incident, it was the holiday season. We just received the email, so we went and spoke to the child. Yes, ma'am.
And you're aware that many times if you ask children questions, you ask them the same questions and they answer you, and then you ask them that question again, that they're liable to give you a different answer.
Well, it depends on the child's age and their cognitive ability, ma'am. And as we
it's true that you try and avoid that by not.
I'd ask the detective to be allowed to respond.
Correct. As I was saying, it depends on the child and their cognitive ability. If I take a 4-year-old, 2 4-year-olds, same birth date, different upbringing, they will react differently to the same interview, and we might get more out of one than we get out of the other, ma'am.
And that's why it is best not to do multiple interviews in succession, because you're asking the child the same question over and over again until you get the right answer you want, correct?
I cannot say correct on that one, ma'am, because as we stated on this particular incident, it was brought to Detective Thompson that this child was disclosing. So therefore, we went and proceeded and interviewed the child, ma'am.
You are aware that since the date that she did the forensic interview, the first forensic interview, she's been exposed to the biological mother's family? You're aware of that?
I was not aware, ma'am.
You're aware that the family has a lawsuit against defects?
I'm not aware of that, ma'am.
And you are aware that since that date she was exposed to the Lamberts?
Yes, that's where we went to interview her.
And you're aware that she had been exposed to TV news?
From speaking to her, that's when I discovered, I guess, that she had mentioned the news article or the news story, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And
Just one more question. Was the reason you went out to do the interview because it was Millie was giving additional information?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have further questions.
Now, you never asked Millie whether anybody had told her to say anything that day.
Well, she was asked, ma'am, in the video, I believe Detective Thompson asked her if anybody told her what to say, and she stated no.
So you did ask her.
No, Detective Thompson asked her.
And Miss Lambert was in the background. You could hear her talking, correct? That was the female that you could hear talking.
She was present during the video. Now, at which point are we speaking of? Because when we were speaking to the child, she was away. When the child went to put the shoes up, that's when Miss Lambert came into the dining room and spoke.
When it first started, she was talking while Millie was talking. Is that Miss Lambert talking? Adult female voice.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And based on your conversation with Ms. Lambert, was it your understanding that the Lamberts were not discussing?
That's correct, ma'am. From what she stated, when Millie went to put the shoes, she said that she is not discussing the case. We don't do that in this house, and we're not going to discuss it with a child.
Oh, thank you, sir. You can step down.
Thank you, sir.
Objection to this speaking. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
State recalls next witness.
State calls and McCullough.
And recall. All right.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You have some. I'm going to have you state your name and then spell your name on the record.
Can I move this? Ann McCullough, ANNEMCCULLOUGH.
Ms. McCullough, how are you currently employed?
Self-employed as a counselor.
And do you have your own private practice?
I do.
How long have you had that practice?
Since 2013.
And in your private practice, do you see both children and adults?
Yes.
Have you ever worked as a counselor in a school setting?
Yes.
For how many years?
Approximately 7.
And in the school setting, what age group did you counsel?
Elementary.
And are you a licensed counselor?
Yes.
Now, at some point, did you have a client named Mellon?
Yes.
And how come you were counseling Mellon?
Her great-grandmother was referred to me by one of my colleagues.
And what was the date of your first counseling session with Mellon?
September of 20.
Looking at your records, public file?
Yes. It's been a while.
May I have first witness?
May.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 388. It's a certified copy of your records. And if you can, let us know the exact date of the first session.
9/15/16.
And what was the date of your last counseling session?
March of 2018.
Now, between the first session, September 15, 2016, and March of 2018, how many counseling sessions did you have with them?
30.
And in how many of the 30 counseling sessions that you had with Millie did you discuss the death of her sister, Laila Daniel, and her experiences while living at the Rosenbaums?
2.
Now, I want to talk to you about Millie's first counseling session on September 15 of 2016. On that date, did you discuss the death of Laila?
Yes.
And who was present during that session?
Peggy Banks.
And how come she was present?
I needed her to be there for my understanding of the family dynamics and just to watch their interaction and hear from her about her concerns.
And what did you observe regarding the interaction between Miss Peggy Banks and Millie?
There was a bond. Millie physically was close with her great-grandmother. I observed Millie as being headstrong, very bright, capable, strong little girl at such a young age.
Now, on that date of September 15th, who brought up the conversation about Laila's death?
It was actually both. Peggy wanted me to hear about it, and then Millie also.
And on September 15 of 2016, what, if anything, did Millie say about the day that Laila died?
Jennifer had told her to. May I refer?
Yes, if you
Okay.
could refresh your recollection.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she said that Jennifer told Millie to go upstairs and to stay there. She said that Laila was not talking. They called 911. They knew she was killed, were her exact words. She didn't go downstairs. She knew something was happening. And she also said that Jennifer had spanked Laila.
And what was Millie's demeanor when she talked about the day of Laila's death?
She was not tearful about it. She was strong, stoic almost, for her age, with no emotion. It was just a matter of fact, this is what happened.
And while Millie was giving you this information, what was Peggy Banks doing?
She would comment from time to time, but I really wanted to hear from the child, so I allowed a little bit of that, but then Millie would correct her if she commented incorrectly.
Now, the statements that you just told us that Millie had said at that September 15 session, was that said all at one time, or was it throughout the session?
Well, the session was at least an hour. I can't remember exactly. I go over time a lot, especially for our initial visit. But it was throughout the session. I had things for her to play with and to interact. She loved the Play-Doh, so we were doing other childlike things as well.
Now, this was the second time you discussed the Rosenbaums with Millie on November 10, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And who was present for that session?
Also, Peggy Banks.
And who initiated the conversation about the Rosenbaums?
I would say that both, actually, because both were engaging in sharing with me.
And what did Millie tell you on November 10, 2016?
While she was upstairs, she said that she heard Jennifer and Joseph, and her words were to kill Laila.
And what was the context of that statement?
It was a time when I wanted her to focus on what she had experienced firsthand and to gather her thoughts without interruption from Nana at all, Peggy Banks. And she told me that there was fighting. She would hear fighting between Jennifer and Joseph. And
when she's giving you this information, are you talking about just the day of Layla's death or her overall experience of the Rosenbaums?
overall, as well as that particular day, yes.
Did she ever tell you what Jennifer and Joseph were fighting about?
Not specifically.
Now, according to Millie, was the fighting a one-time occurrence or did it happen more than once?
More than once.
Was Millie ever able to tell you how she felt about the fighting?
I learned pretty quickly from her that she had learned a natural response in that she pretty much protected her little heart from things that were painful. She was not processing emotion, I think, appropriately. So she had built up rather a wall and proved herself to be strong.
What else did Millie tell you on November 10th of 2016 about her time at the Rosenbaums?
I asked her at one point to kind of break through that strength that she had. Was she at any time afraid of either Jennifer or Joseph? And she very quickly said no.
What was Millie's demeanor when she said
More protective, I feel, of her heart, like they're not going to get to me.
Object to what Millie is thinking or what her heart is thinking, she can't testify as to that.
Response?
Therapist is testifying to what she observed and how she interpreted it as a therapist?
She interpreted it as a therapist. I'm going to allow it.
You can continue.
She also explained that in the same comments, she said that Jennifer kneed her in the stomach. She said that she was not getting dressed fast enough and that Millie had to dress herself, but that Jennifer would dress Laila because she's the baby.
Now, do you recall any other statements that Millie made regarding the Rosenbaums over her 20 sessions or 30 sessions of something?
She quickly made the statement that they did wrong and we can forgive.
Was there ever a time that Millie expressed to you how she felt about Layla's death?
It affected her, and the diagnosis that I gave her was PTSD because the child had been through so much trauma and she was not coping well. She was acting out with Miss Banks, and I could see how their interaction together, it was difficult for Miss Banks to get Millie's attention and have her respond appropriately, as in minding her.
Now, during your other 28 sessions with Millie, what type of things did you discuss or address?
Trying to help her to understand her emotions. She didn't have the vocabulary to explain some of the things that she was feeling, indicating. So we did specific words on anger, mad, alone, feelings associated with being alone. And she responded real well.
Now, during your sessions with Millie, would she correct you if you got something wrong?
Oh, yes,
During your sessions with Millie, would she correct Peggy Banks if she got something wrong?
absolutely.
Was Peggy Banks present for all the sessions with Millie?
For most of them, there were times that I asked her to step out, and I needed to speak with Millie alone so that she could talk about her frustrations living with her Nana.
Was Millie able to tell you when someone told her something versus something that she personally observed?
She had a mind of her own, and she spoke from her own thoughts. And I saw that evident when she would say, Nana, that's not the way it was, or, that's not, it was a different way.
Did Peggy Banks ever bring up any concerns that she had?
She wouldn't mind. She got real frustrated. Both of them were very frustrated. I think it was difficult for Peggy to reinforce a change in her behavior. And the child, as I said, was under a lot of trauma that she just truly didn't know what to do with it, and it came out in her behavior.
What kind of behavior are you talking about?
Well, I just briefly and informally observed and shared that with Ms. Banks, that her actions, her behaviors were very much like an ADHD child, hyperactive. And I think that could have been attributed definitely to the trauma that she had experienced, the concentrated trauma that she had experienced over a brief, short time in her life, and it continued. So the impact of that, I think, was definitely the source of that behavior. I observed her in her classroom without her knowledge, and I didn't see any of that indication there, but it was very structured.
Now, was there ever a time where you met with Peggy Banks and Amanda Heron?
Yes. It was for moving forward and the adjustment of Millie moving into Amanda's home and being adopted.
Now, was there a time where your sessions with Millie ended? What we said in March of 2018?
Yes.
And what was the reason for that?
Millie had made that transition into Amanda's home, and she was doing very well.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Andrews. Ross.
Good afternoon, Ms. McCullough. My name is Corinne Wall. I've got a number of questions for you. If you need to look at your records, please let me know. I've got a copy of them, or you can look at your own copy, however you desire. You got the history about this child from whom?
From Laila or Millie?
Both. The history about, let's start with Millie. The history about Millie, you could get it from, who did you get it from?
Peggy Banks.
And the history about Laila, where did you get it from?
From Peggy as well as Millie.
Now, the first mention of the Rosenbaums was January 10th, 2016, correct?
Do you have that?
Yes. Refresh your recollection?
Yes, if you have it exactly right there. Okay. I don't think that's January. I think that is actually, yes, that is November.
November, so it should be 2 1s instead of 1.
Yes, yes.
So so that was the first time she mentioned the Rosenbaums, November of 2016.
No, the Rosenbaums were mentioned on 9/15/16 at the initial visit.
And what did she tell you on 9/15/16?
That Jennifer told her to go upstairs, that Laila wasn't talking. They called 911. They knew she was killed. She didn't go downstairs. She knew something was happening. Jennifer spanked Laila.
Are you aware that she did go downstairs? Are you aware of that?
No,
She told you she had not been downstairs, correct?
no. She did not say anything about that. She told me that she, at the time she was told to go upstairs, she stayed upstairs. And she chose not to go downstairs because something was happening.
That's what she told you.
Mm-hmm.
And she also told you that she heard Joseph and Jennifer talking about killing Laila, correct?
At a different,
On a different day.
yes, yes.
What did she say that they were saying?
Her words were to kill Laila.
And of course, you are aware that not only was she living with Peggy Banks, but she had been exposed to the biological mother as well. Are you aware of that?
Exposed in,
Spent time with,
yes.
was
Under supervision,
around,
yes.
supervision, but she was there with her mother and her father, correct?
I'm not certain about that.
She told you that a couple weeks before Laila died, she had been told to go upstairs and stay there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a couple weeks before she died, you say that. Not on the day she died.
That was an additional time she was told to go upstairs.
And she added, Nana screams at me, correct?
Yes.
And on 1:15, she said that Jennifer spanked and starved Laila, correct?
On January?
Well, dates may be off, I may not be reading the handwriting well, but did she tell you that Jennifer spanked and starved Laila?
Those words in my notes were not from Millie.
Okay, but what do those words mean to you? I mean, you use those words. What do they mean to you?
I recorded them in my notes, yes, because Peggy made that remark.
Peggy made that remark, and she made that remark in front of the child, correct?
Yes.
And there was also a problem with Laila, with Millie lying, correct?
We went through a period of addressing that. That was a concern, but it was not with any issue regarding the Rosenbaums. These were issues of not cleaning her room or
Small things.
childlike, yes.
And that was a problem for Peggy Banks. She didn't know if she was telling the truth or not, correct?
Over,
anything.
I would not say that.
What would you say?
She was concerned about children at that age will pick up that habit. They don't want to do something, so they will make up something else to get them, out of having to brush her teeth or something that a kid at that age is not wanting to do.
And you are aware that lots of times we say that children should not be questioned successively, correct? Because if you ask them the question several times, they give you an answer once or twice, and you still keep asking that question, they're liable to give you an answer that you want to hear. Isn't that true?
I can't say either way on that.
Now, do you know if she was telling the truth about the Rosenbaums?
I felt that she was, yes.
That's your opinion, though. You have nothing to back it up.
Well, my experience with children and my experience with Millie, yes, I feel certain she was telling me the truth.
And you felt that even though her grandmother was sitting in the room with her, correct?
That did not have any bearing on her comments.
You don't know how much her great-grandmother was telling her at home before she came to meetings with you, do you?
I know Millie well enough to know that.
Please answer the question and then you explain.
Okay.
You do not know what great-grandmother was telling Millie before the meeting with you, do you?
Well, I heard some of the things in session, yes, that I knew she had spoke to Millie previously about.
But the stuff that she may have spoken to that you didn't hear about, you don't know anything about that. You don't know the extent to which great-grandma was telling her things, do you?
Not exactly.
In fact, great-grandma was saying inappropriate things in front of Millie, wasn't she?
I can't recall.
Was it proper for her to be saying to Millie that she has no sisters because they're half-sisters and they are sisters by another mister? Is that appropriate to say to a 4-year-old?
It's a fact, and
Can you answer the question and then explain? Is it inappropriate to tell a 4-year-old that her half-sisters are not her sisters because they're sisters from another mister?
in this case, I'm not sure that that is inappropriate.
Well, then say yes or no. It's not inappropriate.
Not inappropriate.
Is it appropriate for great-grandma to tell you that she didn't want Millie going to homosexuals, atheists, or Muslims? The relevance is it was raised earlier on by the state. They asked about a so-called lie of Miss Jennifer's that she told Miss Lambert that Miss Peggy had said something about her being black and she didn't want her children with black people. Certainly, this shows that what Miss Jennifer, I think I should approach.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is time for our afternoon break. So we'll take a 15-minute break and then we'll come